All right, so some other helpful things that we can do. When you're working with tracks, you're trying to line things up. It's helpful to know about the zoom in and zoom out tools. So zoom in makes it bigger so you can see things very specifically. Zoom out makes it smaller if you want more of an overview. Another thing that's helpful is, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit to show you, is before you start singing or before you start playing, if you have any room noise or something falls on the ground and makes a sound, you might see these little imprints. And I can tell from the sound signature here that this is not real sound. This is not something I want in my music. It's just kind of extraneous noise. And I can tell the silence is a perfectly straight horizontal line. So if I wanted to get rid of these little kind of little flutter of noise, I would go here and click on the silence audio selection, and that is how you delete. So you see those little flutters just disappeared. Bring them back so you can see once again, I know they're very small, and hit the silence audio selection. And there they go, they disappear. Another thing to show that is helpful is the highlighting tool. So I just highlighted that part, for example. What I'm doing here is I'm using the selection tool, or what sometimes looks like a cursor if you were typing in a Word document. And you can either hit the selection tool to start at a very specific point in your recording. So I'm going to start here, just for the sake of example. So you see I didn't start from the beginning. If I wanted to start from the beginning, I'd have to click over at the beginning, and then I would either hit play or my space. If I wanted to start in the middle of a song, I would click in the middle of a song. Fun. One thing that's really, really helpful with this is if you just want to play one part of the song, not the whole thing, is you can highlight and click play or spacebar, and it will just play the never forget I love okay. Another thing is when you're laying additional tracks, you don't actually have to start from the very beginning, unless that is helpful to you. But if you wanted to come in later with some like ooh sounds, so here's a part where I come in later with some ooh sounds, you can see that my cursor is still here set at just after 6.5 seconds or so. And then we're going to listen for the ooh sounds to come in. So I just unmuted my ooh sounds. Here we go. Never forget I love Fun. So again, you don't have to start from the beginning. How you would do that is you're going to pay very close attention to these little timestamps here. These are going to be like a ruler. And in fact, they look exactly like a ruler looks. And if you were adding a new track, tracks, add new, stereo track, you can see that again, our little cursor button or our selection tool that I've been mentioning, you can set it to start wherever you want. So if you go back to your main track, I apologize for jumping around so much. I'm gonna mute a couple things. But if I go back to my main track here, that melody 1 that I was talking about earlier, and if I wanted to start it anywhere in the middle of the song, I can. Pretend like I don't want those oohs to happen or the ohs to happen throughout the whole song. I can choose where to start. What I recommend is that you start a little bit before the additional track comes in. So when I'm going to record those O sounds, I'm not going to start exactly where the O sound starts because I want a little bit of leeway ahead of me to have a running start to get the timing down correctly. Never forget a blossom in the moonlight. Okay, so you see here I'm starting around 7.5. And if I were to record my own track, it would sound something like, let's see if I can do this off the top of my head, please don't judge me. So I'm gonna start around 7.5, I'm gonna hit record. It's gonna come out of my speakers. I should be wearing headphones, but for the sake of example, here we go. Never forget a blossom, eyes gleam, blue eyes. All right, if I wanted to go back and play, my cursor is still set there. Either I hit play or spacebar. Never forget a blossom. And this is another instance where there's a little bit of a delay, so I might want to use this time shift tool to shift it back just a scooch. Never forget a blossom. Still not perfect. Never forget a blossom. A little bit better, but you get the point.